All right, let's do it. And this is the distributed lecture and more of the practice. And this is the absolutely right project. So I'm abandoning the old one and let's start from the scratch. Almost.
Really?
Not really, but almost. Mulle ei meeldi magic mapperid.
Miks? Kui sa neid ise teed, siis...
Ei no kui ise kirjutad, siis muidugi meeldivad. So here we are. So this is the project. I'm implementing everything from the scratch. You have seen the recordings in the YouTube. The project itself is here. So that one. So if somebody wants to work along, then you're most welcome. So the source code is here. This is exactly the same public project as all the rest of those. And here everything is totally empty. So not totally empty, so it's actually already working backend, but there is no details, just a few for the what I needed in the front end. And the data access layer is basically just in the beginning. So I only have a few base interfaces and this is it. No repositories, no mappers, no unit of work, no services, no BLL, nothing. So BLL here is totally empty. So everything can be implemented again from the scratch. So I can work through all the different issues one by one, kind of looking. Now we know what we want to achieve, what should be there at the end. So now I can implement those things I want to achieve immediately from the beginning. So I don't have to redo and redesign the stuff all the time. So check pinned messages. So let's start with it. Let's start to work on it. So first we have this interface iDomain entity base. I don't like it. I want to rename it and I want to say that this is iDomain entity ID. Yeah, this is what it does. It provides us or guarantees that there is an ID. I like this more. So metadata, that is okay. And then I also did this iDomain entity user, which tells that this entity belongs to somebody, at least theoretically. So there's the interface which demands that there is an app user and app user ID. So one issue what I have is this, that if I want to use this syntax and say that some kind of field is nullable, then it has to be a struct. If I remove the struct from here, then I cannot use a nullable key. So that's the problem with the strings. So I can, since here it's not important, I can from here I can remove the struct and leave it as just IAgreeable. But somewhere where I want to use a nullables, I have to be more specific about it. So that's the problem with the nullables. So iDomain entity data seems to be okay. iDomain entity ID also. I want to get rid of the struct here, so it theoretically at least can be a string. or I don't know, date time or whatever. So the base interfaces seem to be okay. So now let's see what our domain looks like. So there's the abstract domain. Let's see at the abstract domain. So now the next question is, at least theoretically, on the domain level, shall we do also the generics?
Always.
I'm not so sure about it.
Always
Because domain is already an app level abstraction. And in the app level, we are kind of fixed already what we are doing. Is it a GUID or not GUID? So this is kind of debatable. And even more, if I want to do them, let's say if I fix my domain, then this abstract domain is most definitely should not be here. I think at least now that maybe this is not maybe, but this is also something I want to share. And there are some few more entities I want to share. This multi-lang string and translations is also something I want to move from one project to the next project. So let's see. So I do under the del. What shall be named? Shared domain.
shared domain.
Domain.base. And basically this is domain.app actually. So let's do then, let's do again. So new project. So this is domain.base.
Iga aasta projektide arv
Suurenev
peab olema 2 korda suurem.
kui eelmine aasta.
kui meil oli mingi 24, siis see peab olema
48.
Järgnevalt 90.
Okay. So domain base. So I can grab those and move those to the domain base. So it needs a contract style base reference. And let's change the namespace. No. This is not Newtonsoft.
Suures internetis töötab kasutada Newtonsoft, sest Microsofti oma liiga aega.
Mis ta on liiga? But aeglaselt ma ei tea, aga I like the Microsoft one because it's according to rules. It follows the standard.
Yeah.
I love that it's
Mina ka ei kasuta, mina ühtegi tööd.
I love that it's closed.
Palju asju, mida ta ei toeta, Microsofti oma ka on aega.
So what was the package here? System.json. Okay. So let's that one gonna be this, and that one also. No, that one I need probably. Okay, so let's write something about it. So the main entity metadata with the user. Well, let's go one by one. So we need to do the extensions here, or the generics one. This is derived from the domain entity ID with the GUID. So that one actually implements this interface, and that one implements this. Okay. Mis asja? Okay, sorry. What are you complaining about? Why the main entity ID? Why the main entity base? Okay, the names are mismatched here. So this is this. Okay, and this one has to be actually this K. What you don't like? Non-nullable. Okay, that one is a default. Okay, domain entity ID seems to be okay now. Domain metadata, there is no... when I do the metadata, then this one only has the iDomain entity metadata. Oh wait, it is ID and metadata, sorry. And this one also needs to have the generic version here. This one is recording. Okay. Can't derive from both of those, so that one gonna be here. But there is this iDomain entity ID interface. Okay. Okay, and now I have the problem with this. What's this? Property app user ID. Type should be domain entity user domain entity metadata. What's wrong with you? Change by domain entity metadata. Domain entity user. Yep. That one gets the TK. And domain entity user, where T user is this. And this is T user, app user. And this one is identity user GUID. So that one is identity what I was picking here. T user. Oh, okay, this one actually is from just that one. Well, what's going on here? Domain entity user takes the T user. I will send the TK here. Yeah, and I can't because this is fixed to the GUID. So I need to use this interface actually, which takes us to the TK, comma, this word. So this one here is actually then identity user TK. Okay. And that one shall implement the domain entity user GUID. No? What's wrong with you? And that one wants to what T user. What does it complain about? Domain entity user GUID. GUID is definitely is that one. No nii ma talle ütlengi. Ma ei tea, mis ta nüüd teeb. Okei, nüüd läks dekompileerima. Kõrgud küll. Mine puu taha. Cancel, ma ei taha näha seda GUID-i.
Ta tahab T-user, mis on identity user GUID. Sa annad lihtsalt GUID useri asemel.
Õige, jah. Identity. Me oleme ise ka enne pidanud teenest. See ekraan on nagu nii väike, et see on suisa häiriv. Okay, now it seems to be more or less okay. So we have our abstract entities, ID and the metadata, ID and the metadata and the user. And we can have like make a different variants of them if we really want to, depending on what we want to do. So maybe I need additional ones. But seems that all the generic options are done. So now let's see, GPS location, that one needs a reference. So domain add a reference to the domain base. So the location type only has the ID and metadata and not the user. Yeah. And the session has the ID metadata user. Yep. Domain entity ID metadata user. What's now? Oh, import. Okay. So just in case, the abstract domain is now can be removed. And let's see the identity. This is the identity rule, and it just fulfills this interface iDomain. And that's okay. All right, the domain seems to be more or less okay. So I just moved those base entities around, and I have those interfaces. So now logically, if we go step by step, then the next level, after we are fixed the domain, let's see what's the problem here. GPS session controller, what don't you like now? No, there is okay there. GPS sessions, select. What's the problem? Ambiguous invocation. What? Rebuild solution. Identity user query. App user first name, app user last name. So it's what the hell? Oh, okay. Let's go and see what did we do here in the domain. So app user is this one. This is derived from the identity user. Okay. And now this domain entity ID method. Okay, I need to use correct class. So actually I don't want to fix the type like this here. So actually this domain ID entity metadata I need to use the correct user type, and since I don't know what the user type is here, so this means that I have to work with this T-user. So this one is actually T-user, where the T-user is this one. So now this T-user has to be sent here. Okay. And this one is also T-user. And what's now the T-gay? The type parameter T-user. Yes, like so. Now it should be better. So now the GPS location has the app user. And the GPS session has the app user. So those reference now this app user. So they get the user correctly, at least hopefully. So app user first name is there. What's wrong here? Oh, it can be null. That's okay. It cannot be null. Yep, now I got my user sorted out. Just in case, let's compile the project or rebuild. Vaataks, et minu laud töötab kodus palju paremini. Okay, so built okay without any warnings or errors. So my domain is sorted out. So let's commit the code. Git commit am domain. And hopefully I don't break the backend somewhere because it's automatically deployed immediately. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now let's see. Now we need to move to the next level. And next level up was our unit of work and repositories. So just now I don't have any web controllers here, so this is empty. But I have a bunch of API controllers, and I have a bunch of business logic written into the controllers directly. So not even business logic, but a kind of mix of business and data access layer stuff. So plenty of database operations. What is going on here? So we need to get rid of those and simplify the controllers and move the data code out from the controllers to the data access layer. So let's start to work on the data access. So we have our contracts DAL base, and we have the DAL EF. So this is already the implementation. So let's start to write what our stuff should look like. And even those probably can be put better, because now we have the domain as a shared thingy, since we have now the domain base also. So maybe we should also have the domain base contracts, not here in the DAL. Or then we can move those base entities somewhere, I don't know where, but let it just now be. So let's add interfaces and stuff we need for the repositories and unit of work and all the other pieces that we typically have. So we have mappers. And we have the repositories. And then we have the interfaces. Base unit of work. And then we have base repository. And some kind of base mapper. Okay, let's start with base repository. So what do we know here? We know that we have some kind of TK. So we know that there's some kind of type for all the primary keys we are using. And the base repository and its actually interface. Yeah. Works against some kind of T entity. So this is our output and input entity as we get into the from the DAL. So in reality it's the T-DAL entity something, or DAL entity some kind of. So this is not a domain object. This is what we get, what we give as an output, and also what we get as an input from as the parameters to the methods. So internally we are using domain objects, but this is only the interface, so I don't add the DAL word here. So what can we say about it? Where TK has to be at least equatable. This is the minimum I can say initially. And where T entity has to be probably a class. It has to be domain entity ID. I demand that it has an ID, and it must have a parameterless constructor. Then I can make a more public interface, or more exact. So the iBase repository, which derives from the iBase repository. So here it is still TIH entity, but here it is fixed against the GUID already. and all the constraints. So now let's work on it a little bit and think about it a little bit. That's the problem I have here. Okay, and so I try to do the simplest thing I can do. So I will drop all the non-async methods. All the database operations will be async, and I want to do something like this. So this is a task, automapper of the T entity. So this task needs an import. So this is the all async. And since I now have this user interface, so I know which entity is owned by somebody when it is owned, I can actually do those operations in the base level. So I can actually check for the interface. And now I have a few problems. One problem is this, that I cannot do this. Let's say user ID. I want to do something like this. By the default it's null, but I cannot do the TK question mark. I can only do it when the TK is an struct. But I don't want to limit TK to the struct, because then I cannot use strings. See on nullable probleem. Only non-nullable value type. Ei, kusjuures see isegi ei ole probleem. Kuhu? Siia. And I can do something like this instead. And I will just use object here. The next thing I want to do is pool no tracking equals also true. So typically I want to use as no tracking, because we don't need to track those objects. We don't want to modify them, mostly. So let's use the no tracking here. So let's make that optional, so we can supply that shall it be tracked or not. So then I can also write something like this: task T entity, which is the first or default async. This has also KID, and the rest are those parameters. Then we have the T entity add, T entity. Then we have the task T entity update async. object user ID equals null. Then we have the remove async. Then we have the remove by the TK. And we also previously used this task pool exists async. The KID and the object user ID equals null. So something like this. And this TK is used only as an input parameter, so we can make it an in TK. So now it will be nice a little bit to explain to ourselves what the hell is this all about. So let's comment at least the first method out. Siis peab pool'i tagastama. No see sinu jah, sinu nagu get all või? Ei no all on jah, on ju where'i nagu mingisugune ka üks meetoditest on ju. No, paneme seda nimeks get all, kui see nagu Paavli õnnelikumaks teeb. User ID limit the result to this user data. So jah, sa lihtsalt pöördud selle peale nagu entity.user ID equals user ID. Ei viitsi parasjagu. Ma olen, no, juhenda mind läbi selle. Enumerable, see ei ole koma on ju, see on siin. Vastu oma entity't. Aga ma ei taha... Siis sa ei saa filtreerida, sa tahad filtreerida. Jaa, ma tahan üks asju siin teha. Ei, las ta olla, las olla get all. Me võin pärast sellesse süveneda. Nii, param name user ID limit the result to this user's data. Has no tracking. Use as no tracking if data source supports it. Yes, absolutely. So you want to check it everywhere, basically. So this is the low-level security check. Ei. Ei. See on ikka väga nagu meetodipõhine, mis ma teha tahan parasjagu. So if the user ID is not null, then we will check that if the T entity actually implements the interface, what we want this iDomain entity user, and then we can filter the records based on the user ID. So only the correct data is either returned from the database or allowed to modify or allowed to delete or whatever. So everywhere we can check for it. So we have this nice iBase repository. And then we have the I base unit of work. So here we have the int save. Let's do only the async thingies. Task int save changes async. And it's an interface, not a class. And then we have this T repository, get repository, repository on the T repository. And that one takes a func, which takes a T repository, and this one we call a repo creation method. Something like this. Okay, so we have this, and now we have the base mapper, which just specifies what we want to map. So that one has us tin object and tout. Maybe they're maybe not the best names. Where tin object is a class and new, and where out object is also class and new, and then we have ei taha, can't map and it's not a class, it's an interface. Why did I do everything as an? So maybe they are not maybe it should be like object 1 and object 2. Kas sa küsisid, Kata? See ei ole sinu oma. Vaata, onu Pavel hakkab kõhnaks jääma niimoodi. Hakkab teine ära närbuma, ära söö onu Paveli šokolaad ära. Onu Pavel ei jaksa niimoodi varsti. Kaotab fookuse. Kas sa küsid tema käest palun ilusti? Mis ära hoia käest šokolaadi, pane ära käest kohe. Küsi ilusti, onu Pavel, kas ma võin palun šokolaadi? Nii ei tohi, Kata, et lihtsalt võtad. Ei ole sinu oma. Sa tohid küsi ilusti. Ma arvan, et onu Pavel ei ole suur nagu härg. Ta ei söö tervet šokolaadi üksinda ära. So maybe the names are not the best. What can it be? Object A and object B? Kata, ära palun karju. Left and right. Yep. Can be. We can say that this one is T left object and this one is T right. Left object, and now we have the right, if this is better. Kata, kas sa pead tulema issi mikrofoni juurde karjuma? Kas kõik peavad salvestuse saama selle, kus sina karjud? Aga mine küsi siis onu Paavli käest ilus. No aga siis ei saa ju, kui sa ei küsi. Issand. Okay, so it seems to be that our base interfaces are okay. So now we can actually implement those. oh, Kata kallis. So, one moment please. This gets out of hands. Okay, so for the happiness of our sanity, it's not in and out; it's left and right. I'm not so sure that it's better, but it's
Not sure either.
but it's something. Maybe foo and bar. Map foo to the bar and map bar to the foo.
Miks sa teed generic interface'i, miks sa ei tee lihtsalt map'i?
Ma tahtsin, et nii-öelda enamik mappimist on nagu nende kahe objekti vahel. Most of the mappings happens between those two. The other one will be the map to put them here. But then I cannot create the mapper out of ahead. I have this problem then. So let it be. So I'm happy with that one initially. Okay, then we have let's add a new project. We start to implement those interfaces, and first we implement those as generics, so we don't know anything of our application yet. So those are the DAL base EF. So those are actually implemented against the entity framework.
It's a base.
Yeah, it's a base, but against the entity framework. And then we go to the DAL app EF, where everything is already strongly typed. So that first one is EF base unit of work. Конечно, надо over-engineering. So this is the DB context. And we, what did we do with the, there's our dull base. So now we did, okay, that's my confusion. I also need the dull base, which is the most generic, and those domain objects, which we did the domain base, can actually be in the dull base, since they are here in the contracts dull base. Or then I can do the something like bloch, like bloch. So let's try to be more specific about it. Is it data access? Is it data access layer or is it domain level domain? So those iDomain entity IDs. Because now I did here, I have domain and domain base. Shall I also have domain contracts? Or should they be in the DAL? If they are in the DAL, then I don't need the point of the domain base also, because I can move those domain objects into the DAL.
Kas domain ei ole DAL-is tegelikult?
Ei ole.
Sa kasutad neid DAL-is?
Ma kasutan DAL-ist veel allpool tegelikult, on ju.
Sest vaata...
ma tahan koodi kirjutada, ära hakka, ma tahan koodi kirjutada. Ärme hakka teoretiseerima väga hullult. So I have a little bit confusion here where to keep those. Shall they be in the DAL base? Then I can get rid of the domain. Okay, let's move them actually to the DAL base and I can get rid of the domain base. So where's my, did I create it? I have DAL base F. Okay, let's make also new project, which is the DAL.base. So I can get rid of that one. Let's get rid of that one also. Initially. So I have dull base, and let's move those to the dull base. Okay. Now I can remove the domain base project. And let's fix the namespaces. So this JSON ignore was in the what? No, it was in the system text JSON. Wasn't it? Yes. And I actually don't need it afterwards, because we don't make JSON objects out of those directly anymore. So just now I'm using domain objects in the controllers and serializing them out, which is definitely bad. No vot, tak случилось. So now we can do the mappers here. Where's the director? So here we have the base mapper. And if we really want to add then also the identity mapper. So this is the base mapper. And we need the automapper here for it. On Magic ei taha kasutada. No Base'is jah. Päriselus ma ei taha teda kasutada. So the base mapper doesn't know anything, so it's the T left object to the T right object from the I base mapper against the same left object, right object. So let's make a constructor here. So let's make, yep, can be. Okay. So then I also probably need to do it here also, if it's allowed. So protected, read only, I mapper. Yes, from the automapper. This is our mapper. Mapper equals new mapper. No. It's not a new mapper. It's a new mapper configuration, which will create us the mapper. And here we have the configuration for it. So it's a config. Yeah. Create. Where did we go? Create map. So this is the T left object to the t-right object. And then we have the other one, config. Create map, and now this is the t-right to the t-left. So we have both ways to map. And let's implement the missing members, yes. So this will be public virtual. Return. Mapper map. Shall it be mapper dot map? So this is the this is t left. Yeah, this is the input. T left object to the t right object of in object. Küsi.
Miks sa lihtsalt ei pea? Milline see on
Pärilus. Inheritance.
Miks sa mitte ei inherit seda automapper? Miks sa sellest kas või üks?
Miks ma oota, kui sa ütlesin inherit?
No selle asemel, et sa teed seda objekti sees ja kasutad seda nagu proxy'na, miks mitte lihtsalt kaks...
Jah, sest ma tõenäoliselt ma tegelikult nii-öelda, sest ma ei loe seda heaks implementatsiooniks. See tegelikult ei meeldi mulle.
Jaa, sa ikka saa seda nähti override'i.
Disable on with comment. Because this is actually okay. Let's be nice and write some comments here. Maps using automapper. No mapper configuration. So the property types and names have to match. Ignore. Default value.
Default value просто ignore.
Nee. Default value. Sest new tehakse on ju selle. Auto objectile tehakse kõigepealt on ju sellele siin. The right object, mis välja tuleb. Kõigepealt tehakse new right object. Ja siis hakatakse ükshaaval asju üle kopeerima. No. Mida new käigus saad, seda saad new käigus. No.
Mis ta on olla? Kas ta teeb?
Võt see on hea küsimus.
Ikka teeb. Taalt see ei ole...
Jah. We'll see how it goes with the nulls. Ta nulli poolt, sa kontrollib, et ta null ja ei teegi mitte midagi, annab see nulli tagasi.
Kui see tuleb ka null, ta vist ei tee.
Nii, mul on telefoni kõne, emme helistab. Ja Kallis. Tavai, tulen taga õue välja vastu. Tavai, kohe. Näeme, Kallis. Nii, it's a break. I have to get Katariina dressed. Nii, paneme siit pausile. Ja paneme siit ka pausile. Okei, siis sa kõnaks ei jää sõnaga. Ei jää. Ei ole lootustki. Okei. So we have our base mapper. We can also do something which was called identity mapper, which is basically just maps, doesn't map anything, just returns the same thing. as it was initially. So sometimes it's useful. So at least on the DAL base level, I think I sometimes might need it. So I do it here. So this is called identity mapper. Don't confuse it with the identity system in the ASP.NET Core. So this is more mathematical term. Identity function is identity function. So this is the T left object to the T right object, which implements the I base mapper against the T left comma T right object. Can't I do them all at once? Seems to be no. Yeah, identity kind of, because this is final. You don't derive. This almost can be made sealed. Return in object as T right object or to the default. And that one returns in object as T left object or default. Until we do here, this can be a null. Yeah, I can do. Me saamegi niimoodi teha. Ei, siin ka ei saa. Ikka niimoodi. Left object, right. What's here? T small l crept in. Ei viitsinud.
Aga viitsid. Käsitsid.
Arvamus on raske muuta. Okay, we have the base mappers, and now we can also do the base unit of work. So the class interface, which is the base unit of work, which implements the iBase unit of work interface. So we have those two methods here. So this class is an abstract. So as abstract. Nutapustim there. So this is public abstract. Since we don't have the data source, so we have no ideas how to actually save anything. So we just delegate it further. So somebody somewhere has to implement it. But that one, how to get repository, that one we know, more or less, because we get the function, how to create that, how to create the repository. So now we just need to figure out how to cache it. So let's make the cache for it, where to keep those created repositories. So we only create them once. Yeah, where to keep the instances exactly. So it was type and object dictionary. Since we don't know anything about them. Yeah, kind of. So it's the repo cache. So this will be the new dictionary. Yeah. Theoretically, we can say that they have to be derived from the ai base. Teoreetiliselt võib panna, aga not really. Nii, get repository. Yeah. So if mille jaoks? Et küsida mida selle käest, mida ma peaksin saama sealt? Aga siis sa pead need kõik seal kirja panema. Kuskil pead sa need kirja panema selle, kuidas sa lood neid reposi. Siis sa lähed paned kõik oma 30 repot kirja, 30 repot ja 30 on ju service'it läheb paned dependency injection'isse kirja.
Ma võin hästi ütelda, kas see sul on nii?
No ütle.
Get type, get assembled, get process.
No jah, sa võid teha factory on ju. Mingi nagu trikiga. Ja absoluutselt, sa võid reflection'iga ka looma hakata, igast moodi võid teha. Ei vaidle vastu. So we try to get the type of T repository. Out var we will get repo. So if this is successful, if this repository, whatever this repository is, we don't know what the type, we know only the type. If this type, so if this key, we're using type as a key. If we have this object in this repo cache, then we get the object out from here. So now we can just return it. We cast it to the T repository, since we know that it actually always is this. Shouldn't be anything else. If we didn't find it, then we create it using this repo creation method, which has no parameters. What's wrong with you? Return would veel jah meil. Out var repo, yes. And now we can add it to the cache. So it's the add. So it's under the type of, this is the key of T repository, comma repo. Let's add it to the cache, and now when it is in the cache, now we can just return repo. And once again we have to cast it. Although the func returns us this T repository, I can do something like this, but I cannot. So since the type is fixed here, so the type of the variable repo is fixed here as an object. Yeah. So I can. So I can say something like var new repo, or let's say new repo instance. So then we create the new repo instance. We add it to the cache. Yeah, it can be theoretically null. Maybe, shouldn't, but maybe. So I can say something like this here. Don't worry about it.
Ei mitte fungiga, get repository. kirjuta lihtsalt, et get repositories class, siis ta siis seda küünarta enam ei nõua.
Yeah, absolutely. I can write here that where key repository is most definitely class. That one I know for sure.
Ta siis
What does it complain here? Oh, it's in the interface also. So here we have to write then that where diff repository is a class. That's true. Yeah. So.
siis ta arvab, et see ei ole meile.
So then it's okay like this.
Küünmärgiks on juba mingi
Magic.
midagi, mida tuleb vältida.
ja hüüumärk on jah selles suhtes nagu vähe kahtlane niuke alati, et and maybe and in the TypeScript in this default configuration you are not allowed to use exclamation points. Yeah, it tells you that please check, so you have to write like if and then do your stuff, because the exclamation casting via the exclamation point will actually fail in the runtime if it is null. So it's not a safe check in any way. Okay, so we have our base unit of work with this nice base caching and how to get the repository. So we just give the function how to create the repository. If it is already previously created, then we get the same instance back, the old one from the dictionary. And if it was not created, then it just creates it using this method here and adds it to the cache. millist muuta, et seda või on, noh, sest ma lisan ta siia, on ju, mul on siin vaja ka talle referentsi.
ei, sa võid teha kõigepealt add ja muuta asemel panna seda repo creation method ja pärast returnida lihtsalt repo cache ja type of
jah, teoreetiliselt jah, siit ei tule midagi välja, aga las ta olla, nii on loetavam. It's more readable like this. Okay, so now we need now we can go to the dull base EF. So this is dull base. We don't know anything about the data source yet.
Yes.
So here we know that we are using the entity framework as a data source, but we don't know anything about the domain yet. So we didn't know what the application is about, but we know that, hey, entity framework has been used. So let's add the directory here, not the dictionary. So this is the repositories. And let's add a class. So this is our EF base unit of work. Let it. Go figure. So that one we make it generic because there is TDB context here. Diff database context will be arrive here. It is derived from the base unit of work, which I want to import. Please import, yes. So base unit of work is that one we just have written. So we have this get repository stuff work here. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to implement this save changes. So here we have the protected. Can it be read only? Maybe.
kui sa see sellepärast, siis peab olema
ta ei pea olema, aga ta võib olla.
no.
So this is UOV DB context. So initialize field from the constructor. So we are happy with that one. And now we can actually execute the save changes because we now have the return. So this is public virtual async. Why cannot be virtual? Oh, it's already override. Return, await, UOV DB context. What now? UOV DB context. I have to say also what the hell is this DB context. Where the DB context is at least DB context. This one, what the hell? It's DB context. Okay. Now I can actually call this save changes async. So what's wrong with you? Oh jah, ta on vales järjekorras. Salt modifiers. So this is it, what we do here. And now the repositories. So let's add a class. So this is our EF base repository. Okay, what we have to do here. So that one is derived from the I base repository against the T. So now this is the T-dull entity. So the EF base repository is T-dull entity. So this is a generic. So what the hell is this T-dull entity? T-dull entity is, what was it, a class? Ei, see vist, ei no siin on ikkagi see nüüd tüüp ainult on ju. What the hell, rename, mis ta siin ütleb mulle? New, iDomain entity, mis iganes. And there has to be an ID in our world, hopefully. Let it be. And because we aren't implementing the methods. Where did it go? Like this. Now what else do we need here? We need also our DB context. Tahaks. Then we need our user. Then we need our T-domain entity. So those are the things we need. And now we can finally say something like this, that we are now derived from the EF base repository. Since everything here is fixed against the GUID. So we want to have a fixed key, a key type. Ma pärinen kuskilt. Yeah. Something like this, since I don't have it yet. So this is the public class, this one. So this is the tõh-k. Ta ei saagi veel rahul olla, siin on väga palju rahulolematuid asju. And then we of course have the iBase repository interface here. Ai, seal ma kirjutasin sarja. Hakkasin mõtlema, mis nüüd uuesti. Ja oota, siin on tekkinud, et siin ei ole koma, on ju. Niimoodi. Jah, ja see peab ennem olema, jah, just nimelt. See käib siia ja see käib pärast. Mis sa nüüd tegid? So dull entity is this. Yep, the ID has to be on the dull entity. So we can say the same thing about the domain entity. T user has to be derived from the identity user. Identity user against the GUID in this nice word here. This TDB context. This has to be a DB context. I think this is all. Seda tahaks kohe seda nice memet lasta siia. Okei.
Kõik koos iBase'id küll.
No selle võib jah ikka kaasa võtta. Nii.
Ülevalt ütleb, et tulete lõpusse ära
Nii, oot, iBase repository. Nii, tõh-tall entity. Ei, tall entity'l ei ole mingit parameetreid, ei, siia ei ole vaja. Nii, see on teistmoodi. Nii, tõh-tall entity, klass, nii, siia läheb meil siis tõh-k, jah. Nii, mis sul siin ei meeldi nüüd? iBase repository, me lähme siis siia sellesse interface'i, jah, kus on siis meil tõh-k, tõh-tall entity. Nii, mis sul nüüd ei meeldi? Tõh-k vajab ka meil igasugused piiranguid. Nii. Nii, mõtleme veel. Nii, siis see on meil ka nüüd tõh-k, jah. Ja see on meil ka nüüd tõh-k. Nii, nüüd võiks nagu kõik olla ilusti või? Kõik on tõh-k-de vastu. Nii, alustame siis. Kõigepealt on meil siin üks isegi mitte konstruktori poeg, vaid see on meil siin ka, vaid paneme asjad kirja. Nii. Protected, read only, tõh-db context, which is the repo db context. Okay, we have that one. Then we have protected, read only, db set of domain entity, which is the repo dbset. And then we have protected extern read-only base mapper from the D domain entity to the DL entity, which we call the mapper. Generate constructor. Yes, please. So we have all those. Go to hell with your disable. ikkagi ta käib mulle närvidele. või saama, oota, disable saame öelda vist ka niimoodi või? Nii. Kas ma nüüd saan öelda siin siis näituseks enable. Just in case. Nii. Now this repo dbset is definitely not coming from here. So the repo dbset is just taken from the repo db context. And here is the method set, where we can use our domain entity. So we can just in case check that if mapper tuleb argumendina, jah? Arvan küll, jah, see tuleb väljapoolt. If repo dbset equals null, then let's yell about it. Throw new argument mingi null exception. Miks ei saa? Saab ikka. Ei pea see mitte midagi andma. See on lihtsalt nagu type of tdal entity dot some kind of name was not found as dbset. Okay. No d'accord. Alright, and now we have a bunch of methods to implement. So let's implement them all. And here I need the constructor. Me можем с этим заниматься потом. Okay, so let's work on it. Let's start from somewhere. So basically what we need to do here, step by step, is if this user ID is set. Okay, let's start with the node tracking. Node tracking is really easy to do. Let's think that this user ID is null. Let's not work on it. So we can first say something like this: var query equals repo dbset as queryable. So if node tracking, query equals query dot as no tracking. Это уже queryable. So, shall we disable entity tracking? Okay, and if this gets done, then we can just say here it is a public virtual async. No. Ordering is okay. And here we will, let's do a little bit better it. Result equals query dot to list async return result. It's better to debug, and this is await, of course. oota, aga convert enumerable oh, and we need to map, so we get we map'ida on veel vaja midagi, onju. So this is let's make it a little bit better. So this is domain entities. So we have list of domain entities at this point. So now we can do actually the result equals domain entities dot select. Yes, select, and this is the, let's use the A is nice enough. We do the mapper dot map e. Okay, so far so good. So now what we do with this object user ID? So first we need to check first we need to check this, that is this entity, this T domain entity we are working with, so that one here, is this T domain entity actually owned by the user? So maybe it isn't, maybe it doesn't have the ownership relationship to the user. So then even if you send the user ID here with some value, I cannot check anything because I don't know what the foreign key is in the entity. So I can only check it when you actually use this this I domain entity user. So I need to find this interface. So is this entity actually, so is this entity implementing that one? So and user ID is not equal null. No, yeah. Let's see this. And so if user ID does not equal null, so that's the easy check. And now we need to do something with it. User ID. Oh, now we need to do this. User ID get type equals type of T key. So it has to be of this type.
Okay.
On
sinu user ID.
Object, ma ei saanud TK-d nullableks teha. Onju, aga object saab olla nullable, aga see, noh, nüüd ma ei ütle see mingi tüüpi, onju, aga tegelikult selle asja nagu tüüp saab olla ainult tõhk-key ja mitte midagi muud. Ei tohi olla midagi muud, onju. sama asi tegelikult.
ja see on ka refleks.
see on ka niikuinii sama asi.
no jaa.
teeb täpselt sama asja, okei, is the key.
mis ta sulle sealt pakub?
merge sequential checks. okei, jah. sest 0 ei saa niikuinii olla tõhkei. True that. So that was a little bit simplified, absolutely.
tundub, et sinu kommentaar on liiga pikk selle jaoks.
tundub küll, jah, kommentaar tuleb pikem kui see asi ise.
aga mis sa viitad?
Nüüd ma siis tahan kontrollida, et interface'i ka implementeeritakse. So type of iDomain entity user of K and T user. So I get the type of that is assignable from type of what it has to be iDomain a type of iDomain entity user. Yeah, this is the T domain entity. So see on interface. ja see on see asi, mis meil generic siin on.
Miks sul generic suhteliselt filtris ei ole?
Mis mõttes filtris? Sellepärast siis peavad nad kõik seda tüüpi olema. Ma ei ole kindel. Mul ei ole kõik seda tüüpi. Osad on, osad ei ole. Хорошо, jah? Okei.
Я раньше вообще не использовал почти, я сейчас стал.
Aha. Okay. So now we know that actually this interface is implemented there. So let's do a little bit more reflection. Not reflection, but some more
Magic.
not magic really, but this is not really magic. So we are just checking that is the interface there, how it's implemented. I think there was actually 5 different ways how to check the implementation of the interface. Разные варианты. Okay, then I want to do something like this. Var domain entity. With user, because I want to write something like a dot user ID equals. So I want to cast it to the correct type. Minu probleem on selles, kui ma praegast lähen kirjutan niimoodi, on ju. Query equals query. Where ja mul on ainult ID and I only have the ID and nothing else, but I want to get the user ID. From this E. Absolutely. And I made sure that that domain entity actually implements this interface. Mis asja sa räägid? Query cast. Okay, I can do something koos genericutega, otse loomulikult. TK, T-user. Kuupunkt. Cast. ahaa, okei, saab niimoodi ka või? Aga nüüd on ID kadunud.
no nagu nii kaua. see on sama, sa kästid. seal ei ole ID-d.
seal ei ole ID-d. aga kas ma saan niimoodi kästida, et ta oleks nagu and? et mul oleks nii-öelda 2 interface'i sellel küljel.
kuidas?
nagu ta siis on, no interface, ta implementeerib mõlemit ju.
no jaa, kas sa praegu kästisid selle?
ma tean, aga kas ma saaks nii, et ma kästin mõlemisse korraga?
saad teha.
ei, ma küsin, kas saab. sina oled meil viimasel Reflectioni nagu suur spetsialist. ma võin need nagu ükshaaval nagu järjest nagu kästida, on ju.
aga sul ID-d ka vaja?
ID-d on mul ka vaja ja nüüd ma olen selle nagu ära kästinud, on ju. ei okei, siin mul ei ole vaja.
aga siis pane enne kästid veel midagi veel. seal on sul ID olemas.
Okei, ei saa olla, mul tegelikult ei ole ID-d vaja, et see on nagu siin iseenesest okei. me võime siia teha, on ju, app user ID equals ja user ID.
jah, ta solvus. solvus selle peale, et sa paljastad teist tükki query'le. sest query on domain entidest.
no vot just nimelt, on ju. Let's do it a little bit differently. see variant on kahtlane. Where? EF. Property. TK. E. Comma. Name of. iDomain entity user of the TK, comma app. This T user. Now I can, from this, I know the field name, which is the app user ID, equals to the user ID. I have this. So this is the shadow property access. We had it on the slides also.
no такое себе дело.
So this is the accessing T domain entity dot app user ID via shadow property access. võib panna, mis seal nagu vahet on. nii. okei. So shall we disable the entity tracking? Okay. And if there is a user ID and it is of type TK and the domain entity implements the iDomain entity user, then we can extend our query and filter all the records so that the app user ID has to be equal to the user ID. And then we'll filter those out and get the result and map them to the tull. Okay. Need kõik kästivad, noh. Kästib, mis ta kästib, noh. So let's, what we do here? So first our default async. What's the idea? We do almost the same thing, plus we check for this ID. Yeah. So
sama asi.
almost the same. The only thing is one more additional query, basically. So we can do something. Let's make it a little bit better. So this I variable. So let's go here and write private I variable domain entity. Prepare query. Which has those methods, those parameters, and we can just where's this code? Here. We can grab the beginning of it and put it here, and finally return what the hell query. So now we have var query equals prepare query and user ID, comma, no tracking. Let me go here. Okay, now we can do the prepare the query. Query equals where a.id has to equals to the where are you to the ID, and then we just we can do basically copy those lines, await query domain. So this is actually not where, this is already first or default async. So this is actually wait. So this is domain entity. Entity2, go to hell. And this is mapper map domain entity. Sest ma ei saa kirjutada enam võrdub. Ainuke, mis ma tean, on see, et tal on I equatable. Võrdub tähendab seda, et ma saan strukte teha võrdub.
See on equatable, sõltub sellest, kuidas ta transleerib. Ta seda ei käivita nagu kuulub.
Eks me näe, mis siit nüüd välja tuleb minu helgetist ideedest. Okay, add is trivial. That is one of the simplest method here. So this is repo tb context, repo tb set dot add, and now we need to mapper dot map. So this is the entity, and we also need to return from here. So this gives us the entity back, and we want to return it, but this is the wrong type of entity, so we need to map it again. So it's a mapper map. so we can make it a little bit maybe more readable is this. If we, let's grab this one out from here. So this is the domain entity. So then this one is something like this. This is now ja add tagastab. Add tagastab. Ta ikkagi annab tagasi iTrackable mingisuguse või trackable entity. So add'ist tuleb tagasi on ju entity entry. As no tracking see siin küll teha ei saa, sest ta peab track ima sealt, see aerosolvastaks alles siis, kui save changes tehakse. Ennem ei lähe ju kuhugi. So this is once again I can write it over here, but basically I can make a new one and say this is a tracked domain entity, and finally I can say that it's a var result equals, so it's a mapper map tracked domain entity and return result. I don't know, is it better to read? Now it's not in the one line. So let it be. I don't want to spend my time here. Okay. So here, update the sync. So update starts to update a record which we need to check, is it actually ours? So we don't track it, I think. Let the tracking be. Which way we do? No tracking true, I think. Yeah, we don't want to track. No tracking true. Then we need to do something like this. So we create a domain entity out of it, whatever mapper is doing. And this one is also virtual, and this one is a virtual async definitely. And this one is virtual async, and that one is, and that one is, and this is private. Okay. And now I need actually to check that you are trying to update something in the database that belongs to you. Since you're trying to update the entity, existing entity in the database, this means that the ID you're supplying here inside the entity and the user ID inside the entity, if there is a user, they have to be existing in the database. There has to be such a record. Otherwise, if I'm just update based on the ID, on the entity.id, you can go and hijack somebody else's entity. So I need to check for it, and basically throw an exception if it fails. So this goes. This needs to happen here on all those methods. Why is there the remove async? Why is this update async? This is wrong. I made a naming problem somewhere. Where is this? Go to hell. Where's my interface? Yeah, puu taha. Name is just wrong. It's a remove async, not update async. So there's two options to remove, either via the entity or then with the ID. ei, see on kindlasti async, sest ma lähen ju, I need to go and check in the database first. Is it really there? So that one is remove async. So I need some kind of method which will be private. What will be the nice name? It's private async task check domain entity ownership. Maybe like this. It's really... No, I will throw. So this takes the domain entity and the object user ID, which by default is a null. Yeah, here it can be TK, you're sure. But then it cannot be a null. So if I want to have the nullable, then it has to be an object.
Mix null. TK user ID word of default. Siis kui ta nullable on, siis ta on null, kui ta ei ole, siis ta on default value.
I love it, because everything here is object is on õudne või? Everything is õudne. Nii, okay, let's think about it. How can we check that this entity belongs to the correct user? So I want to call it out something like this. So it's a wait. So when I go to the update, siis hakkame peale siit. Lähme siis on ju nii, tõhkei on aiekotable. Tõhkei, nii. Nii, nüüd lähme siia. Nii. Tõhkei. Nii, null ei saada olla. Nii, nüüd saad öelda mulle siia, kirjutame siia default. Nii. Mis see mulle annab? Mul on tüüp. No me niikuinii kästi on ju, aga...
Lihtsalt, kui see on näiteks int, siis sa saad nulli. Kui see on int küsimärk, siis sa saad nulli.
No, proovime niimoodi siis. Me hakkame siit juba peale, jah. Nii, jah. Nii. Ja see on logisch.
Kui sul on objekt küsimärk võetud null, kas sa üldse intis saad kasutada?
Jah, saad küll. Boxing. boxing.
kuskil sa oled kontrollinud,
Nii.
see okei on.
Nii, mõtleme, et on ju ID.
ID on nii ka kõiki võrda.
Tõhkei ja tõhkei ei ole võrreldav omavahel. Sellest, et see ei muuda olukorda siin. Sellest ta saab olla objekt. Sa ei saa võrrelda kahte objekti omavahel enne.
Kalksjoneeritud sama tüüpi ei saa võrrelda.
Need võivad olla ju referentstüübid enne.
Jaa, nagu tüüp.
Samas muidugi IE...
Punkt equals sa võid kasutada.
Ei, punkt equals sa võid kasutada. Seda me oleme kogu aeg kasutada. Seda me teemegi. Jah. Sest equals ei sätesta, et seal peaks olema võrdlustehe defineeritud. See ainult ütlebki, et see meetod equals on seal olemas. Muud ei midagi. Nii et mis mul nüüd punane veel siin on? Ma tegin implementeerimata kuskil. Ma väliselt ma alles veel nagu implementeerin seda asja. Ehk siin on mul asi poole. See on siin.
Näed, user ID list okei, see on kindlasti okei, ei ole mõtet seda lihtsalt.
Ja nüüd siis ikkagi on mul on ju vaja kontrollida, et ta ei ole 0 on ju. Vähem reflection natukene jah. Okay, so check domain entity ownership. Ehk enne kui me midagi update ime, peame sisuliselt tegema before we update anything, we have to do the any in the database. So yeah, that do we actually have this thingy in the database? Can you actually update the entity? Is it there? So we can basically we can check for the two things at once. A, if you have the user ID, then is it in the database with this user ID and this ID? And if you don't have the user ID, is it even in the database? So don't update something which isn't in the database. So it's check. It's kind of like check existence and domain entity. Check domain entity existence and ownership. Ei, saad exceptioni. Jah, siin ma lihtsalt kontrollin seda ette, et mitte ei saa exceptionit, vaid siin ma nagu lähen ja kontrollin seda reaalselt.
No, sa kontrollid,
jah.
Lihtsalt...
No ja siis viskan ise mingi exception, jah, aga nagu oma mingi asja on ju.
See on lihtsalt äri.
Jah, seda ma tahangi teha. No ennegi ma tahan teha seda selle user ID puhul siin on ju. Ma võin ka lasta minna sellele exceptionisse, ütelda siit on ju, et if, mis ma võin juba seda seal üleval teha on ju, et kui see tõhkei on user ID on 0 on ju, siis ära siia üldse tulegi on ju. Aga mõtleme selle peale natuke aega, me võime seda mitut moodi kirjutada. So let's take the query. So this is the same prepare query. So user ID and whatever it is, true. So we don't want to track anything. So now if user ID does not equal null, nii type'i me ei pea checkima ja nüüd me peame checkima seda. We need to check this one. iDomain entity user, this one. iDomain entity läheb sinna. But now we want to do this. Let me check it. Let me think now. how can I check that this entity here, this specific, no, I didn't, since it can only be the T-domain entity, then we need to check does it have the ID. But basically, yeah, now it's mandatory. So here it's also checked, but maybe it's not applied. But here we want to check that is it really there. And then we can just send it to the hell. Let me think now in what order to do it. ja prepare query's me check ime seda onju. Prepare query's me lisame siia selle where'i. We add this where. So now the question is that here we already checked that that the domain entity has this thingy, and then we filter. Now the question is, do we need to check it here also? Do I need to check this specific instance here? Basically, I don't need. The only thing I need to check. Oh, I need to check that one. One more thing what I need to do is this, that you can only update this user ID here has to match with this user ID. Entity.user ID has to be equal to this user ID. So that I need to check. Entities siin prepare query's on, siin me check ime seda onju. We check it here. If it's assignable from the iDomain entity user, then there is. Kui ta ei ole assignable onju, siis me teda ei kontrolli. Ma mõtlen, kas ma siin seda pean üldse kontrollima enam. Maybe even not. Maybe I can kind of rely on that one here. So I can do something really simple now. Var record exists equals wait quarter async in async equals whatever this because this one is here we already have this check for the app user ID. This is already there, that this name of app user ID has to be equal to this where are you, user ID. Okay, now we check that if there exists such a record, then we are happy. So if record exists is false, then we just new throw new some kind of application exception, maybe entity to be updated was not found in data source. Whatever, not found in DB, whatever, data source. No, yeah, we can võib öelda, et argument exception. Doesn't change actually anything, just the string is a little bit different. So now we have checked the domain ownership. it's okay, we can do it on several levels. Now it's repo dbset dot update the domain entity, and we get the entity from here. So this is the var this is the tull entity. No, this is the, what the hell, this is the track domain entity. And then we can do the var result equals map track domain entity and return result. Okay. Remove async. Prepare query. Let's take the domain entity. Let's check the thingy. So we check that you're actually deleting something which belongs to you and to nobody else. And let's think about it a little bit. Let's prepare the query. Prepare, yep, that one does that one, and we actually, do I want to map it at all? We are on the entity side now. So we are trying to move the let's think about it. So query, we prepare the query, we make the domain entity out of it. I don't even want to prepare the query, actually. I want to make the domain entity. I want to check the domain entity ownership, and if it's there, then, and everything is happy about it, then we can just return map repo dbset remove, and this is the, now we already have the domain entity, and we can grab the entity from here. So to keep it in style, we can make this, it's not tracked even, so there is no point to save it anywhere. Okay, and then when we remove it via the ID, then yes, now we need to query it. And here I don't need even to do that one. I just need to check the domain ownership. Yes, that's true. Okay, and in the remove async, so now it is against the ID. So here I need the query. So let's grab it from here. So we don't track anything. Query first or default, we get that one. So now if the domain entity is null, so we are trying to remove something which is not in the database. So where was this nice exception argument? This method. Because I don't need to check, I need reference also to it.
no aga mulle siis laseb tagasi.
But that one here doesn't, no, I don't want to. This is only any. So I want to get the object from here, and now when I have the object, I can do this, remove the domain entity from the database. Yep. And finally we get this exists async. So we're gonna check domain entity ownership. This one goes, this is basically, this does this exists thing. This is exist method already. But this one only throws. So I can, here I can take this one and put it here. If record exists. Seda ma juba vaatangi, et ma saan seda siin jah nagu paremini teha. So this is the ID. Ja just nimelt neile. Return record exists. So this gives us the true. So basically I don't actually need this one. That's exactly the same result. So check domain. So if I want to show it, if I want that those will throw, so I can remove this one and use this exists async. Oota, kas see siin, see võtab, see võtab ID on ju. That's okay. This one goes in. Seems to be okay. Seems to be. And now we have all the base methods implemented. No vähemalt objekte enam ei ole. True that. Can be improved probably. So let's see, will it actually work in the practical side also. So what's the time? Oh, it's 6 o'clock. So it's can I extend? I can. Oh, okay, this cannot be extended anymore. So it's 55 minutes. No vaatame, mis välja tuleb. Tahaks, just asju tahaks teha. Aga katsuks nagu let's not get carried away, because actually people want to use it and get the like working system out of it. So we need to get the working solution out of the doors, because the course is kind of ending. So let's not spend too much time on fancy C# trickery. Let be. So now we have the base implementations of our stuff. So now we can go here and in the tal app EF start to implement our application specific stuff. So here we first have add, where are you, class interface. So this is the app unit of work. So the app unit of work uses the EF base unit of work. Yes. And here we already know that we have the app DB context, and it is the interface I app, which I don't have, I think. So I need to write what the hell is I app unit of work. Yep, I need to implement it. Yeah, but where? So this is here in the dull base EF. No. I need some kind of, where are my contracts? Contracts dull base. Contracts dull base, and I need contracts dull app. Yeah, I'm missing one. Add new project. No. Contracts dull app. What did I do now? Net core app. I already changed the type. So this is a net standard. Yep, Microsoft Net SDK. So this is public interface I app unit of work. So here I have my something, repositories. Name failed. So I need also the repo interfaces. Directory, where are you? Repositories.
Yeah.
Okay, it's still recording. Oh, don't jump around like this. Double keyboard. So here I have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's start from the basics. GPS session repository. So this is the interface. Then I have GPS location. GPS location type repository. Okay. Then I probably interface. I also need the app user repository, and I probably need app role repository. User definitely somewhere. Depends what I want to do, but let's try to get those 3 out of the door. So those derive from the I base. They don't derive from the no, yes they derive. From the I base repository and yes, is it against the GPS location. And now this is what? So base repository speaks only that it is some kind of entity. What entity is it? Really? I think that it isn't the domain entity. This is the dull DTO entity. When we actually implement, this is the output type. This is the output type. So I need one more project here. So the more the better. So here we have this DTO. So now this DTO, those are the public DTOs. So here we do the new project. This is the tal DTO app. No, it's tal app DTO, the other way. Like so, tal app DTO. Oota. Oh yeah, class library, what are we doing here? It's net standard 2.1. Actually could be, I think it could be even like 1.2 or whatever was the first one. Absolutely. olid, exactly. So now we are here, so I can just kill this one. So now I can first go and grab those from the, actually all those, from the domain and copy them here. And then let's start to think about it. Do I even need app role initially? Probably not. And app user, no, I do need them. So what do I have out of the app role? I think I only have this display name, and this is it. And the ID. No, I don't want the name. Name is already internal. Don't touch it. No.
Kui sa pärast tahad kasutada easing role ja tahad kasutada rooli, mis sa oled küsinud, siis sul on seda name'i vaja.
Siis on name'i vaja muidugi, on. So I need this iDomain entity ID, so that one is okay. This is coming from the contractual base. Yes, and here I know that everything is GUID, so this can be identity ID. So let's implement the missing members. So this is the ID, just want to have it in the first place. And okay, for the Pavel tahtis, let's add the name also here. So and it has the same attributes. Do I even need those attributes? Actually, no, I don't do. I can keep them. Probably I can validate my own entities via the reflection if I really want to. So then, what do I have in the app user? Definitely not this. I have the iDom entity ID. Okay, let's add the ID. Okay, I have the first name and last name. Let it be. First name, last name. I have the ID, and I want to have the email. I think yes. So this is basically the user. How it was written, interesting. The email. It's uninitialized. I have declared my warnings as an errors. Kus või? It's everywhere. Kõik on hullableid. kõik on erinevad nullaplay varningud. Ükshaaval korjasin kokku need kõik, mis vaja.
Ja see kompilaator, kui sa siin käsitsi kirjutad 30 juttu,
ei kompileeri.
Прикольно, что-то.
Okay, so email and see ongi päris elus, on ju? Teen küll, jah? Raha eest teen ka niimoodi, jah? Email and what was username. Was it email and username? Who remembers? I can go here and where's my identity? I'm also not. So let's check it from the domain. No. Let's see. Username is with capital N. Public override username. And then also the email. And email is with a small m. Okay. So it's username. No pidjad. Okay. Then we have those here, location. So metadata and the user. No. We only have the user here. And do we even have the user here? Yep, here we might have. And definitely no JSON ignore. So we have those. Yep, recorded that. ID we do have. We don't have the metadata. So basically I want to have this ID and user. I can derive from such an entity. But I don't have it, so let's do that one. Where is it? It was in the dull base. So I want to have the ID and the user. So let's copy that one. So that's an entity ID user. This derives from that one. Yes. This one class domain. This is the same class. Doesn't derive from the domain entity data. Does derive from the iDomain entity user. That one is here. Domain entity that derives from here, but now I only have app user ID. So actually I can go back and say that it is from the domain entity ID. So I need this. I'm missing something here. iDomain entity user, but that one also has to have the iDomain entity ID interface also. And doesn't need that one because that one implements the iDomain entity ID TK. Okay. So it's a domain entity id user. Yep. That's the GUID and up user. No. No, mida ma siin kokku kirjutasin? No, it's a T user. Where T user has to be identity user. So no, go to hell.
Yeah.
Because it isn't identity user anymore. So we are back to the interfaces. So it's I domain entity ID and I domain entity, and it cannot be even I domain entity user because that one needs still again the user. So can't have that one. So I'm back to the manual mapping. So at least I can say that there is an ID. But this is no good. And this is the app user. And now I need only the ID, so I just need to implement the missing members. Absolutely. Okay, let's get rid of those, and that one, and that one. And let's fix the namespace. Using domain. What the hell? I even don't want to tell base. Contracts tell base. Yeah, just nimelt. Move to the tal DTO namespace and app role the same way. Juba hilja.
ei olegi hilja, kaks kohtelgi. Vaata lihtsalt projektiga.
Siin saab ühe refactori ja sealt teha seda. Ei, ma ikkagi, ma tahan näha, mis mul siin toimub.
Aga seal on see paranda näiteks.
So here we have the same thing, domain entity, here it's only an ID and the metadata. So here we only have the domain entity ID. And I don't have to do anything with the JSON ignore here. We don't serialize those. It isn't even here. Oh, yeah. So that one is okay. Location type is okay. What's wrong with you? It's never instantiated. Go to hell. And GPS session, I domain entity, here I have the ID and the user. So at least I can tell it it's I domain entity ID, so implement that one. And since this is the owned, I don't have the JSON ignore here. Or maybe I actually want to have the JSON ignore, because time is moving by, so I don't get to do everything today. I have to finish it tomorrow somewhere. And I want to have this user thingy here, so it is actually belonging to somebody. And let's fix the namespace. Yes. See on .NETis, jah? Microsoft NetTest, okay. Microsoft NetTest, okay. Oh, it's okay. Alright, so seems to be okay. So we started from here. So this GPS location type. Now I have two choices, what it is. So it has to be this del app DTO. And now I can go and here in this one and replicate. I gave GPS location. Yep, that's correct. And I have the iGPS session. iGPS session. Yep, that lab DTO. So now I have my interfaces. So now I can do the unit of work. Yeah, I can do the interface. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the iGPS session repository, which has the name GPS session repositories, which is only gettable. And then I have the rest of those iGPS location repository, which is the GPS location GPS locations and GPS sessions like this. And this is also only with the get. And iGPS location type repository. iGPS location types. Hurrah! Now I have my interfaces, and now I can actually implement those. So here in the del app EF, app unit of work implements this iApp unit of work. And now I need to implement the missing members. And I need to initialize those. So this is my app DB context. Yep, that's cool. So GPS sessions is something which is coming from the get repository. So this is the generic. I want to get the iGPS repository out of it, and it needs a method which is the new something, but I don't have the repositories. So now I need the repositories. So this is the my GPS session repository, something like this, which actually takes the as a parameter probably this UOV DB context. So I need to do the repositories. So the actual implementation of all those interfaces. So let's add a directory here, repositories, and let's add the classes. So this one implements, it derives from the EF base repository against the GPS session. What else does it need? Whichever order it was. Next one was the DB context. Oh, I have so many parameters. So first is the DB context. So that one is the app DB context, comma. Then we have the user. This is the app user. So this is the domain one. Then we have the domain entity. So this has to be the domain entity, and then we have the dull entity. So we can say something like this. This is domain.identityAppUser. This is the domain.gps user, GPS session, and that one is from the tal.app.dto.gps session. And we also implement the interface iGPS. Where are you? iGPS session repository. And let's implement the missing members. It is just a constructor. And I don't want to get this iBase mapper here. That one I will initialize here. So that one is the new base mapper against. So this is the output, and this is the domain GPS session. Don't give me that one here. All right. This seems to it. My initial empty repository. Yeah. So now I need 3 more. So I need also this GPS location repository. So I can basically grab the EF base repository code from here. And this is derived from the GPS location. So it's that one is the same. That one is the GPS location, iGPS location repository. And now I can actually implement the missing members. And I don't want to get this here as a parameter. That one I can create here, which is the new base mapper. And the third and the final one, which is the GPS location type repository. Ma ei taha. Mine ära. Mine ära. Jah, aga ma tahan saada siit oma tüüpe kätte. So it's that one and that one. And it's an What's that one? And I don't want the mapper here, I want to create it here. New base mapper. Okay, that looks okay. And now I can say it is actually the new GPS repository. So I have the same thing everywhere. So it's the iGPS location repository, and it's iGPS location type repository. korra. Et seda õigel ajal välja kutsuda.
Mine sinna get repository koodis.
Jah, siin võib kirjutada reflection, on ju.
Mitte reflection, mitte päris reflection, lihtsalt mine sinna, see on üks statement, kõik. Vaata, kus sa lood seda?
Siin.
Siin, kirjuta sinna aktivaator. Siia on ei, mitte niimoodi. Siis sa ei saa anda parameetrit. Ära panna.
No.
Kirjuta tavaline parameetrit, tahi koht. Peale koma, sul on vaja anda üles.
Kako peale koma?
Siia, koma. Teine argument on
Binding flags?
ei, seda ei ole. Vaja lihtsalt seda UOV.
Params.
See, mis läheb konstruktorist. Siin sa seda...
UOV DB context.
See on siin...
We are in the base unit of work.
Ei ole siin.
Siin meil ei ole seda...
Ja abstracti või ei saa.
Ja ta on abstract siin, on ju. So no, go to hell.
Kas saab abstracti?
Ja siis ta peab tulema, see on base unit of work, siis me peame andma selle siia kaasa geneerikuna juba kaugemalt. See õige asi peab siia jõudma ju. Sest see on base unit of work, on ju. See ei tea mitte midagi nagu ühestki DB kontekstist ega millestki.
Kaugel või lihtsalt. Kus on see olemas?
Sest on ju siia ta tahab nüüd saada parameetrina UOV-DB konteksti.
Mingisugust DB konteksti.
Ehk talle peab jõudma kohale on ju see app DB kontekst. On ju, aga selles siin meil ei ole üldse selles sammuseski, on ju, kus see meetod meil on ju. See get repository on defineeritud base unit of work'iks, kus me ei tea isegi veel entity framework'ist mitte midagi. Me ei tea mitte midagi, kust andmeallikas, meil ei ole mitte õrna aimuga, mis see andmeallikas on. Siis me peaksime tõstma selle meetodi kõrgemale tasemele. Või ütleme, et see on mingi abstrakt, on ju, et niisugune meetod peab olema, on ju, aga kuskil keegi implementeerib seda. Sest see sõltub sul konkreetsest andmeallikast juba.
Ei, sa võid anda argumentina unit of work'i.
No sa võid anda argumendina, aga sul peab, me ei taha unit of work'i, me tahame unit of work'i sest saada on ju DB setti või seda DB konteksti kätte.
DB kontekst?
UOV DB kontekst on ju. Aga see ei pruugi mulle üldse olla UOV DB kontekst. Ma tahan teha kõrvale teised repod, mis käivad API vastu.
See võib olla vaata, sa võid minna tagasi, sa võid lihtsalt sinna kirjutama params objekt array object.
Ei, sa võid jah sinna mida iganes kirjutada, on jah, ei nii on.
Sest seal aktivaator seda võtabki. Params object array arguments ja siia sa lihtsalt kirjutad UOV DB konteksti.
Ärme hulluks mene. So at least I got rid of the red lines. So theoretically I have my unit of work. I have my repositories. I probably need to put back the JSON ignore initially because I don't have the business logic yet. So where did I have the JSON ignore actually? Details, because I want to send those details now out. So just in case, let me put it back. So that one was JSON ignore. app user was JSON ignore definitely. Everything else is okay. So that one here is JSON ignore. And in the GPS locations, we don't send back this one. We don't send back that one. And that one. So all the navigation properties are turned off for the JSON. Otherwise I will get the circular reference. Cool.
nagu oli meil muutunud saab siis, kui sa teed seda JSON.
See vastupidi, sa ütled, on ju, et ta serialiseeriks ära nüüd, et hakkab ise mingit ID-si lisama sinna või mingit huumorit sulle. Ja ma ei taha mingit niukest äreosa saada. Ja vast mulle meeldib see exception, mulle meeldib, et ta mulle kurele saadab. Okay, so and now I need to register my stuff in the dependency injection. So let's go here, where is our startup? And in the startup, add scoped. So it's an I app unit of work is implemented by the app unit of work. And this is it, I don't need anything else, I think. Everything else is already in the app unit of work. So all the creation methods and DB context is coming from here. Tak jest. And yeah, this is the constructor parameter here. So that should be okay. So now I can go and modify my API controllers. Let's take the location types, for example. This is the simplest one, and that one won't break anything initially, hopefully. So this is the private read only I app unit of work UOV. So let's delete that one. Let's comment that one out. Not. So now this is UOV. Tegemist on nüüd mul location types. What I have done now? What? Did I add the wrong names in the database? What the hell? Really? Seems to be. Ei ole. Sest ta on GPS. Why did I do the location types here, not the GPS location types? I also don't know. And if I rename it, then I lose what? I will lose the table in the database, and I will lose very many things actually, because there is already a bunch of data there. So I will lose the data.
Teoreetiliselt sa võid muuta seda nime siin ja anna seda annotatsiooni, mis ütleb, et
jah, map nagu mis iganes.
See tabeli nimi on selline.
Jah. Aga okei, siis ma lihtsalt jään siis selle nime juurde elama, mis mul siis üle jääb. So this is actually location types. What can I say about it?
Ei saa.
Ikka saan. I app unit of work. Location types. So sad, so bad. Shit happens. Okay, now let's go back here. location types, and this is not the to list async, but
aga miks sa ei saa muuta tabeli nime? Arvad table saab migration saab ka muuta?
ma igaks juhuks võtaks seda ettevaatlikumalt. Get all async. Okay, this is the UAV location types. Can't resolve find async. So this is the, what is the find async? This is the first or default async. This takes the ID and doesn't take anything else. So first or default. Theoretically, I can also send what here as a no tracking. That would be nice, but no tracking is already true in default, and user ID is not usable here because this is public. This is rubric, yeah. So this is okay. Okay, so this one is put GPS location, yeah. So this is do not match. So this will be totally different. So this is UAV location types, update async. So this is our GPS location type. What does it need? It wants, of course, we have to wait for it. In GUID GPS update async GPS location GUID user ID default. What the hell default GUID?
Default, ta lihtsalt sinna default GUID, mis see GUID.
Nii, aga mul peab olema vaikimisi 0, ma ei taha siin midagi kirjutada. Oota, aga mis talle nüüd siis ei meeldi? Ta tahab tal app TTO ja okei, ja ta tahab.
Sul parameetris on GPS location type.
So this will be, I need now get the tal app TTO here. So this is the tal app TTO dot GPS location type. Okay, this is happy. So that one I don't do. That one I will do. What's this? Cannot resolve? What do you do? Private app unit of work. Oh, okay, this has to derive from the iBase unit of work. So we don't need that one. Okay. 201. Ei, 201. 201. Ei, sorry, 204. 204 no content. Okay, here. This has the same problem that we need to take in this tal app TTO block. So it's that location type, and then it's a UAV location types add. Wait, UAV save changes async. Then it's here is UAV first or default async. Yep. And this one is UAV location type remove async. And this method we don't use anymore. Theoretically, it's fine. Practically, will be interesting. Let's run it. Ma kardan, et võib igasugust nalja saada.
Seal, kus me kirjutame, kui ta ei võrdu nulli, on vaja asendada, kui ta ei võrdu default'i.
Hyvä. Kas mun docker on maas või? Cool, not open. Yeah, see ongi see. Let's see. Dashboard. Kas ta seisab? Ütleme, tegin ikka restarti oma masinale kuskil vahepeal. Automaatselt ei ole pannud sellele automaatselt, jah. Nii. Okei, see töötab. Käivitame uuesti. Yes. Maybe. At least it started up. That's always like half a step ahead. That's already. The only one to test it is not the Spotify. Postman.
А что, Spotify не умеешь? Postmaном любой умеет.
Postmani oskab igaüks, jah. Ma üks panin seal Postmanit too siia. Get. So we want this one. API. It's a v1.0 GPS location types. Okay, actually we've got loaded from the web also, from the URL. So this is the get. Do I need anything else? Headers, header. No, this is public. Those doesn't need. So the, what is this? Content type. Application JSON, I don't, just in case. Send. Woohoo! It is working! Ma tegin meelega sellised. Because it's easier to program in the Android. So those are fixed IDs. Basically they're like enum. So basically they're like enum. Now everything is, because I know that I want to use the same repositories and there is the TK and blah blah blah, so not really. Kuule, sina olid see, kes tahtis viia asja sinnamaali, et see generic jõuaks sinna programsisse välja, program CS-i, et ma seal panen ühe genericu paika.
Mitte sinna. Sinna, täpselt. Ja miks mitte?
No.
Ei, mitte programmisse sinna startup'i.
Ei, no startup'is juba, ikka programmisse.
Programmisse ei saa generic.
Ei, no kuidas ei saa? Siin on ju, näed, on ju.
Siia.
You startup, näed. Siia,
jah, täpselt. Ei, startup ja siis.
Jah, mõtle, kas ta jah, siia niimoodi.
Jah, niimoodi.
Jah, just niimoodi.
No, miks mitte?
et ma saan siia kuid kirjutada, onju.
täpselt. Miks, kui sa teed siukest disaini, siis see peab alguse lõpuni selline olema.
nii, oota, nüüd meil see vahepeal salvestus otsa. mis siin räägitakse? Live on katkenud. ei. Okay, let's start it again. Choose a room. Aiko. See on jah. Okei. Miks ma live streami ei saa? aga miks ma olen ju õiges kohas või? Kas või?
mis aine?
ja aga miks ta on mulle ise siia valinud?
Kus ta teab?
sest ma tulin õigesse sessiooni ju. Ei tulnud. Ma tulin, enda arvates tulin siia. Start capture. jah, see high quality live stream start. Auto capture see.
kas seal juba näitab?
ei veel. nii, nüüd tuli.
mingi 1 minut liigub. meil ei vaja pausi.
noh, mis on veidid siin? aga täna veidi käidi vist näitab mulle.
nüüd näitab. Show live stream.
Show live stream. ja ma peaksin iseennast hakkama nägema. tähendab, omaenda ekraani nagu vanat. no nüüd sellist, nüüd ongi. jah, näed, tuleb. aga täna veidi käidi vist näitab mulle. Raisse pidu. Alright. So let's get back to it. So at least this one is working. Very nice IDs. So let's try to check them one by one. So can I get the specific entity? Yes. Now this gets a little bit more trickier. To actually add and update and delete. So for that I need the user. So let's try to log in. So then I need the account. Log in. Headers. Yeah, theoretically, yes, I have. So that is a post. Body. Row. Situation. So it's email, which is the at go to hell. Password. Maja 2020 was it here? No, that one.
Siin
Siin ei olnud. OP account login, send. Is this okay? 200 okay. Body, I need my token. Give me my token. The lengthy one. Okay. Now can I go back to somewhere here? So this is now a post. Authorization. Oh no, headers. What con? Who the hell? Con. Okay, let's say it's authorization, which is a BRR and the token. Yes, that one is there. Now we need the body for it. Raw, which is JSON. So that one had, if we create, then we don't need an ID. What do we need actually?
Millised vastust tuleb tõsta ja Getist, sul tuli just Get.
Ja mida seda sealt võtta, alles ma siin mõllan natukene aega.
Ülevalus näidaks.
API, version 1.0, GPS location types. Okay, I need a name and a description. So it's a name and it's a description. Test, description, this is test. Okay, this is the post. Let's send it. 401, unauthorized. What did I do? GPS location types, post. Okay, authorization. Okay, send. 201 created. ID is nice. What happened with my ID?
Kes seda loomab?
Andmebaas.
Sest ma ütlesin sulle, et see
And this is not
default'i pärast. Ta ei ole null.
but this isn't actually real. So it was created correctly. So let's think about it a little bit. I actually, if I really want to get it back correctly, then we get all kinds of different issues to solve here. So let's see the post. So here, this is the problem. We take the GPS location type, we add it to the database, we lose the tracking to it, totally. We don't even save the whatever was sent back to us. So we just send it there. So here the GUID is definitely 0. So, and when the save changes is done, then the entity that the entity framework is tracking is updated. We don't have any pointers to it. So here, this GPS location type ID. Yeah. So here, this GPS location type ID is totally bad. So here we have to do this fix me how to get back the object just now added to database. So this is for me to solve. This is totally doable. So, but let's check the rest of the operations. So now we have this ID. So let's check with that one. Okay, now we want to go here, say that ID is equal this. So now it's a put. Now we need the ID also here. Test 222. This is test 222. Send. Bad request. One or more validation location. The GPS. The GPS. The GPS location type. What I'm doing wrong? It's an ID name. So what is this? Oh yeah, this is strict validation. Send. 204, no content. Okay. Voila, update is working. So I got this test 22222. And now the final one. Delete. So that one doesn't have no body. It can have body, but it doesn't. It does ignore it. So let's send it. 200 doc. Yep, I got back the reply. That's correct. It will send back the one which was deleted, and let's refresh it. Yes. Long time no see. So the only issue we have is when you add the record, how to get back the fresh entity from the database. No, we have to. No, we need to get back the whatever the entity framework is tracking. So we need to get back this. So basically, here, fix me exactly what happened. What happens here after the save changes async when this entity gets added? And just now we mapped it once from the app DTO to the domain entity, but now we will map it also from the public DTO to the BLL DTO, so the service DTO, and then from the service DTO or the BLL DTO, business layer DTO, to the DAL DTO, and then we will map it to the domain. So we have like 3 layers of mappers, and we need to figure out how to get back. We need to write something here, like GPS location type equals U of A location types, or maybe just U of A get updated entity. No, which is the GPS location type. We need this. So we need something like that, because the ID might be not the only field that gets updated. There might be like timestamps and whatever the database is doing. Maybe it runs some stored procedures and does what, I don't know what. So it runs some triggers on the data. So we need to figure out, or I need to figure out what to do about it. We did it last time, if you remember, but this has now changed. So I need to work on it a little bit. and we are not using the int-based IDs, so we can't rely, even if it would work, if it would still be there, we can't rely on the minus max int +1 system.
aga sa võid seda objektide kohta nähtuda üksteist, et tegelikult siis, kui sa teed save changes async, see kutsub save changes async edaspidi, sul on need map'id nende layer'ite vahel olemas ja see viimane teeb save changes async ja tegelikult seda update'i automaatselt, sa ei pea enam küsima, ta peab uuendama sinu ehkid automaatselt, kuna sul referents on salvestatud. Sa ei pea seda üle küsima.
Jah.
Sa võid niimoodi teha.
Võib ka niimoodi, jah.
Kui sa seal salvestad, siis ta push'ib tagasi uuendus.
No jah, see oleme mingis observable'is ja mingites kuradi funkides ja...
Mitte päris. Lihtsalt mingi funktsioon, mis viskab sulle objekti, ütleb update ja see vaatab, mis objekt see on dictionary's ja näpib üle uuesti.
Aga see tuleb vaata läbi mitme kihi, on ju?
Mis see vahetab?
Ja seal tekib...
Praegu nii sul üks meetod on update või update reference template. Ja sa saadad seda lihtsalt uuema, seda entity't sealt. Reference on sama.
Referents on sama.
Lihtsalt mapperis ütled...
Ja seda küll jah, ma saan nagu nii-öelda selles save changes'is on ju igal pool seda teha. Et UOV save changes on ju kutsub välja, on ju meil praegust on entity framework'i save changes'i ja ma saan mõlemal pool nagu seda mappimist korda ajada. Ei, saab küll jah, absoluutselt. Et noh kõik, jah, seal isegi peab mingi callback'e nagu nii-öelda edasi-tagasi saatma selle jaoks. See on täitsa nagu koht on olemas, kus seda teha. Me oleme elutsüklis selle just. So I think this is it for today. For today. No, this is only for today. We still have to do the BLL. ASP.NET ka veel, jah. No, ASP.NET also needs to do the translations here on the same system. And we need to map the translations correctly. Exactly. So we need to get, we need to actually flatten the objects in the translation. And then to inflate them back because we have like list of translations. But finally, the list of translations is only interesting in the level of domain. After that, we only work with one correct current language string. We don't work with the list of translations. So that's for my home recordings. So this is it for today. See you in somewhere in the YouTube probably, because the next Friday is holiday, 1st of May. It's the great holiday of the working nation or whatever it is. Working people. Nõukogude inimene läheb puhkama. So this is it. See you next time. Let's stop the recordings and let's go home. I want to sleep a little.